Hello world. I've just got some good Beatles websites to tempt you with. Okay. The first one is actually a channel on YouTube. It's Andy Hall's channel. As you can see, he's subscribed to me up here. Um, Basically, as well as a whole load of other stuff which I haven't looked at on here yet, he's been through. He's obviously is an avid Beatles collector of loads of vinyl stuff, and he's got copies of uh, just about every single pressing of many of the Beatles albums, and he's doing a series basically where he's going through the whole lot. And it's actually really interesting to watch. It's a complete nerdgasm, which is why I love it. Okay, here's another complete nerdgasm, which I suppose if you were to go through these three websites, you would be a complete Beatles nerd, and you would know an awful lot about their output as well. Okay, but this is basically the covers and the differences between like the inner labels on pressings here. This one here is called the Usenet Guide to Beatles Recording Variations. Basically, if you just type that into Google, you'll get it. Okay, it's www.columbia.edu /tilde, which is a wiggly line, Brennan /Beatles their VAR dash 1966.html. That's because I'm on the year 1966, because I've got something to show you here about how you can use all these in conjunction with one another. Okay, this one here is called What Goes On. That's not the home page. Here's the home page. Sugar, that's not the home page either. Here we go. This is the home page. Okay, this one here will tell you about every single edit, cough, splutter, bit of background chatter that appears on Beatles records. Well, it's not every, but I think this guy must get inundated with loads of anomalies that he's found on records. This was the inspiration for my ABBA anomalies, which I made many years ago. I'd love to do a Beatles anomalies one as well, but I feel that I would be copying a lot of what this guy's done here. His name's Mike Brown. And there are loads of anomalies which he's spotted here, but there are also others that I've spotted which I don't actually hear on here. But I think it's going to be an enormous project to undertake to do my own Beatles anomalies. But one day I might just choose an album and just do the anomalies on that particular album. Okay, I want to go to... This is where it lists the songs alphabetically. I'm going to go to Got to Get You Into My Life. Okay, because this is why I really do think, and I've thought this for a while. It's not just since I've bought my Beatles mono box set, but I've been interested in collecting the monos sort of before now as well. The mono box set is just a lovely, convenient way of getting new and playable copies of the mono albums, and much cheaper than trying to find some of the earlier mono pressings, which might not necessarily be in very good condition to play. Okay, but here we go. This has Got to Get You Into My Life. Okay, now these are Mike Brown's anomalies here. Okay, so from a second in up until 6 seconds in, you can hear some talking during the intro, and there's some counting in, and they occur between the beats. Okay, if you hear the left channel, I think you can just stick your ear to it. But I've got, it's helpful to have these on your computer, and I've got my original 1987 Revolver CD here. I think a lot of these were done by listening to the original CD releases from the mid 80s, 1987, 86, 87, I think they've started to come out. But you can hear that, okay? It kind of sounds a little bit kind of robotic-y sort of there is definitely a counting going on as well. Okay. Um, 37 seconds, an odd pop sound in Paul's voice on the word didn't lie. Okay, and then at these 2 points here, 40 seconds up to a minute, and then a minute and 28 seconds up to a minute and 38 seconds, you can hear a distorted guitar sound playing the horn riff after Find There and then Ooh, Then I Suddenly See You. The guitar sound plays chord voicings on beats 2 and 4. Maybe before the brass was added, these parts were carried by guitars, and this is the remnants breaking through as leakage. So there's obviously a guitar track on there, which for one reason or other, maybe they didn't like it and decided to remove it. But this leakage, I mean, it's mentioned again at 2 minutes and 7 seconds, but it actually occurs throughout an awful lot of Got to Get You Into My Life, not just at the places that that he's seen before, that he's mentioned there, I mean. Okay. And I think, again, this is something which on the mono mix, they managed to correct. How did they correct it? Let's go to the Beatles recording variations. These ones basically just tell you of the mixes that are available sort of to the public. So it's got this one basically is essentially the mono and stereo, but where there are different mixes that were available on the North American and Canadian market. And sometimes the German market as well, has to be said, because for some reason or other, Germany got a few different mixes, particularly around about 1967 and the Magical Mystery Tour. They seem to get loads of different mixes. But here we've basically got the difference between the mono and the stereo mixes. So mono, mix A, has a noticeably longer fade, 8 seconds, that helps, and louder bass and percussion. I don't know what it's supposed to help. The brass sound on the mono was augmented on June the 20th by lifting brass from the master and overdubbing onto the mono mix, done on June the 17th. Why would they do that? Possibly to try and cover up for the guitar leakage that you can hear on a lot more of Got to Get You Into My Life than is being suggested on this Anomalies site. And it's one reason why they were obviously trying to make the mono mixes far better, far more perfect than the stereo ones. If we go to Tomorrow Never Knows, for example, Tomorrow Never Knows, which is here, where are we looking? Let's go to the alpha index here. Scroll along here. And we'll find Tomorrow Never Knows. And we'll find that here at 52 seconds, the ADT, or the double tracking. ADT stands for artificial double tracking. Somebody else here who's written to the website owner, Mike Brown, has basically said, I disagree that it's actually artificial double tracking. Sounds like it was actually done as two separate voices, rather than ADT is basically where you get a tape recorder and you or a second tape recorder, and you delay the second head by sort of running them at slightly different speeds, so that then when you play the vocals in one on one tape recorder, it then copies it to the second tape recorder, which is running at a slightly different speed. Then that makes kind of like this version of double tracking, which sounds a bit weird and a bit phased out. But it was also because John Lennon hated having to do things twice. So for him, it was a quick way of doing double tracking. Okay. But what happens in stereo is that your right ear goes completely dead at that point. Okay. Now, Beatles fans, Will that happen in mono? No, no, it won't. It will. You won't notice the fact that you've got that dropout at 52 seconds. Okay, so it does mean that the mono versions of these songs will sound far superior to the stereo ones. Okay, obviously when stereo became a a better proposition, they had to be careful of things like that. Okay, here they've obviously just chopped off a little bit of double tracking that they're hoping you're not going to notice, so that they can record. I think it's something like I think it's a guitar. The organ sound stops. What's he saying? The reason is that George's backward guitar solo was punched into the same track. Okay, so in other words, John's vocal stops because they've chopped it off. They've then got George's guitar sound, which they obviously wanted to put in, and trying to find a track to do it when they only had 4 tracks was quite difficult. Okay, obviously with the introduction of 8-track recording, which the Beatles got in 1968 while they were working on the White Album, it was easier to find those vacant tracks to do it on, whereas they had to be much more economical. Okay, and it will mean that the monos will sound far superior, just because a lot of these mistakes and things could have been covered up. Okay, but have a look, have an exploration of this. Okay, it's again complete nerdgasm, and it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, all right, I'm going to stop wittering on there. Okay, and yeah, happy nerd hunting. Okay, Andy Hall, the Usenet Guide to Beatles Recording Variations and What Goes On. Absolutely brilliant, thoroughly recommended. Okay, bye.